What's going on, man? How you doing today? It is Rewind Wednesday today. You know what that means, man? We got some flashback jammy jams in the building. I mean, what's older than the 90s? It's crazy when I say that because that's like 30 years ago. But, you got music from the 50s, 60s, 70s. There was music even in the 30s and the 20s type. Like, there's tunes all around the world. As far as audio has been able to be recorded, there are tunes from all over the place. Now, for this day, we're going to jump back to around the 90s. Not sure when this was released, but I'm sure I'll find it out while we're tuning in. Hanson's Mmmbop. Now, for those of you who do not know and or don't recall who Hanson is, this was like the first boy band for real that like took over the world. Now, in the 90s, I was a small child, but it was hard as a kid not to have heard this song. They were all over Nickelodeon. They were like the kids you saw as a kid, especially on TV. If you had any thought of music, this was what Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 was for his time. That's what Hanson was for the 90s. Now, they also were like a one-hit wonder type deal. So they came out with this song and essentially disappeared off the face of the earth. But it's all right. They left us with a great Jamie Jam. And here's about 30 years later, we're going to dive into it. Let's check it out. Now, I have not seen this video in forever. So we'll see how this goes. I feel like I need to put on the subtitles. Yeah, we're gonna put on the subtitles. San Fernando. I had no idea these kids were from California. It said San Fernando Valley. I want to say that's in California. Now that I'm paying attention or actually seeing, this man has braids in his hair, and the other one sounds like a famous. Well, I'm gonna say famous, but I don't even know her name. But his voice is reminiscent of a female artist in the '90s. I don't know her name. But it brings back those memories. And I want to say this guy right here with the biggest smile, he's the older brother. He clearly looks older. I don't know any of their names other than we were introduced to them as Hanson. And there was a Hanson craze that swept the nation, bro. Now, back to the Jammy Jam. I mean, it's a catchy tune, is it not? Look at that microphone, though. No comparison. When you get old and you're losing your hair, who's gonna care? Yeah. This was sweeping the nation. This right here. You were bopping all over the house. And your mom was telling you to quiet it down every time. Because what does Mmmbop mean? In the Mmmbop, you're gone. In the Mmmbop. Is that a hop and a skip in the Mmmbop? So I'm jamming, and I'm jamming. But what is a Mmmbop? What exactly is a Mmmbop? Now these are kids, bro. I don't even know how old the oldest brother is. I'm a spitballing and say maybe he's like 12 or 13. Looks that way. So down to the youngest. The youngest might be like 8 or 9, maybe even 7. Like you hear the crooning in their voice. Some of their voices you kind of hear it cracking. This is Talk about a rewind, man. Flower Child vibes, man. Now that I see, the older brother might be older than 13. Inline skates. Bro, this is a very 90s video. I had inline skates, man. And I thought I was going to be like a pro X skater. This one skating was like still, rollerblading was fairly new. So inline skating in that way was unheard of. Look at this man. Top speed in a parking lot. Danger. Bro, this is such an old jam, and it's like the song doesn't even. They're just when they're singing the chorus. Mmmbop is a second. It's it's a split second. Other than that, what is Mmmbop? But they are having fun. Life in San Fernando, huh? So you can't tell me anything. So you don't know anything, basically. Like, that's what they're asking a bunch of questions. They're like, no, you can't tell me anything. You can't tell me if it's gonna be a daisy or a rose. You can't tell me when you plant the seed how it's gonna grow. You can't tell me anything. You don't know. Technically, they are terrorizing that parking lot with their inline blades and their teenage angst. They are terrorizing the neighborhood. And then they go home and have a jam session in the living room. So now, as we jam, I have questions. So, that is the Hansons. Mmmbop. Bro, come on with it, man. Like, all right. All of them play an instrument, and they all sing. The youngest plays the drums. Believe it or not. And my question really was, is he really playing the drums? Like, was that really him in the production part of it? Like, did he play the drums and they record that? How did that go? I mean, I can believe it, but at the same time, they were like, from what I remember, in my mind, how I remember it is like, bro, they were gone like that. They were here and they were gone. But I probably couldn't even tell you what was happening in and around that time. I just remember they dropped. I was a kid. I remember seeing them everywhere on like kid channels. And then the song was so freaking popular. Yeah, that's definitely a rewind for me, bro. And that's what gets this going. These are more or less songs or things that I might even feel like I've heard in a piece of, or it's a request that I don't know. And we always just check it out because it's good to, reminisce over the good times, when things were a little bit simpler. Of course, that could have just been for yesterday for some people, but for some of us, we're a little bit older, and a couple years ago, things were sweet. So let's take it back 20 years and remember what that was like, and such on and so forth. Either way, glad you tuned in, glad you sticked around. And because of that, you are now part of the club, man. Welcome to the club, guys. Stay tuned for more Rewind Wednesday jamming jams.